Dennis Blog's Cooking Show. I'm Chef Sean Gartland here at Feast Gourmet Kitchen Shop in Fenton, Michigan. Today we're going to tackle a really simple recipe. We're going to be doing a citrus roasted chicken. And so what I want to highlight today is the importance of a really nice brown crisp skin and moisture in terms of how we roast our chicken. All right. So what we've got here is a nice 3.5 pound bird. I've taken the time to take it out of its packaging, remove any neck muscles or gizzards or liver or whatever might be packed inside of the cavity, and we've washed it off really quick. And then what I really want to do is make sure that I dab it really well with a paper towel to completely dry off that skin. The crisper chicken skin comes from really dry skin when it goes into the oven. It gets an opportunity to really crisp up and get nice and brown and tasty. And if you're like me and you love chicken skin, then you want to make sure that you do everything you can to make sure that it's brown. To flavor this chicken, we're going to use a couple of different things here. We're going to use some citrus fruit. So I've got a little mixture of oranges and lemons, a little bit of grapefruit. And we're also going to use the zest. So we've got citrus zest here that we've taken off of the rind, just with a quick zester to get the really good top layer of the citrus fruit off. It's where we have all of the really good essential oils. What we're going to also use is a little bit of fresh sage that we've chopped up here. We're going to create sort of a paste with these two items and some olive oil to put in between the skin of the chicken, between the skin and the flesh, to help flavor that chicken from the inside while it's cooking. Now the moisture comes from stuffing the cavity with this citrus fruit. So what I'm going to do really quick here is just tipping my chicken upside down. I'm going to take our citrus and we're going to go ahead and stuff it right in here, being careful to get into every nook and cranny, giving everything a squeeze. Now what happens while this chicken cooks is that the citrus heats up and starts to steam from the inside out. And so it's really important that we get our chicken cooked all the way through, but I hate it when people cook their chicken to death and it's really dry and stringy. This is going to help us along to make sure that we don't get a dried out chicken breast and chicken thigh from heating it too long. Now in the same bowl, what I'm going to do is dump in a little bit of our zest and sage, okay? And we're going to create a quick paste with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, okay? We'll have to make sure we wash this bottle off since I have my chicken hands. And what we're going to do is just really quick with our fingers, just mix it around. And then the beauty of a chicken is that it's got skin on top, but it's very loose in terms of how it's fastened on or how it is attached to the rest of the bird. And so we were able to get our fingers in there and create sort of a nice little cavity. And we can take our zest and our herbs and olive oil and sort of massage that in there so that as this chicken cooks and some of that fat renders off, it helps to capture the flavor of the herbs and the citrus, and it penetrates the breast meat. Okay, so we'll do that from the back end. We can also turn the chicken around, and we can start from the front end as well and work our thumb in there and just do our best to massage all of that in. All right, and so there we have it, just a nice, really beautifully stuffed chicken with citrus, and then we've got the all-important flavor compound kind of inside the skin. And coming back to the chicken, what we're going to do now is use a little technique called trussing to make sure that we have a good even heating process throughout the whole bird. And I'm going to do that by using a nice length of butcher's twine here. And so what we're trying to accomplish is to make sure that all of the muscle is kind of in a compact bundle, tight bundle, so that nothing's left loose and off to the side to cook a little bit faster than something else. So this helps us to tighten it up. And you may notice this if you buy a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, how the butcher's shop has already done this for us. What we're going to do is just find the middle, okay? And we're going to bring it down underneath, tucking the wings underneath, and we give it a real quick crisscross right across the top. And you can see how that tightens everything up. We come under the legs, we crisscross under there as well. And then when we get up to the top here, we pull the legs together and we bring the twine right underneath it and crisscross again. And this enables us to tighten this bird up so that throughout the whole cooking process we have a nice even heating throughout the whole bird. So we give it a quick tie. All right. And then once again, what I want to make sure to do is that when we cook this, there's even heat going all the way around. And so I'm going to use a quick, easy technique. If you don't have a roasting pan with a rack on it, today I'm actually just going to use our nice cast iron pan here This will enable me to make a really quick pan sauce at the end. And I put in a little bit of chopped onion or sliced onions. Okay, everybody's got an onion laying around, or possibly some of the extra citrus fruit that didn't make it into the bird. What we're going to do is lay that into the bottom of the pan and set the bird right on top. What this does for us is it gives us a little bit of lift off the bottom, so the air is able to circulate around the whole top and bottom of the bird. And then even better yet, with this, all the drippings kind of fall down into the onions, and in the pan they create this great pan sauce that later on we can add a little bit of butter to and drizzle over the top of the chicken when we serve it. Now, to also help aid in crisping up the skin, we're going to add a little bit more olive oil. So we just add a dash of that, give it a nice massage, okay, get a good coating. As this heats up, the olive oil is going to heat up first and create a really crisp skin. And then I'm going to take a little bit of pre-mixed salt and pepper and generously sprinkle that on top, okay? Now, once we've got the chicken nice and trussed tightly up with a little bit of butcher's twine, we've got it in a roasting rack of sorts with our onions underneath and a good generous portion of salt and pepper on the outside along with a little bit of olive oil, we're going to pop it into a 500-degree oven. Now, this might seem like a very high temperature to heat this bird up in, but we want to get a quick sear on the outside skin and start the browning process right away. So we're going to go in for 500 at about 10-15 minutes, depending on how hot your oven runs. We actually happen to have a convection oven behind us here, so we'll probably keep it in the range of about 10 minutes. Then we're going to switch it right down to 300 degrees and let it cook for the rest of the time, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, to ensure that we don't have an intense heat really drying the first layer of meat out. When we come back, what we're going to see is this beautiful mahogany-looking chicken with crisp skin and a very moist inside cavity because of all that citrus. So we've got the chicken out of the oven now, and we've got this beautiful mahogany crisp skin that we achieved through rubbing it with a little bit of olive oil and making sure that we got a good generous portion of salt and pepper on that dried out skin, placing that bird breast side into the oven towards the back so that we get a lot of intense heat right off the get-go to help sear the meat. And we've ensured that we've got a nice juicy inside with all that great citrus fruit that we stuffed into the cavity. Now, the trussing helps us to keep it juicy as well. We've got it nice and compact and even as it cooks throughout the whole process. Nothing's kind of hanging out loose, so that ensures that all of this meat cooks very evenly. We've got an internal temperature of about 165 degrees, measured right at the thigh bone. And with all these great onions underneath that we created our impromptu roasting rack from, they've started to caramelize, and the pan drippings that have dropped down in there started to mix into a little bit of sauce, some of the citrus fruit dripping out. So we've got a great pan sauce that we're able to drizzle over the top of the chicken. Now, we need to let this rest for a few minutes before we cut into it to make sure that we save all those juices, let them kind of head back into the muscle tissue as it sits here on the cutting board. But after that, we're ready to enjoy. At Feast Gourmet Kitchen Shop, our aim is to bring the joy of cooking to you. And so we do that through classes and through great advice here right in the shop. We really drive home technique and good ingredients and try to pair that with the best tools possible. We teach a full range of classes here, from basic knife skills to Chicken 101 all the way up to ethnic classes like Classic Thai or Vietnamese. And they're from the beginner all the way up to the enthusiast. Our goal here at Feast is to give you confidence so that you can tackle any recipe you want.